cruel wealthy CEO sees his divorced wife at a luxury hotel with a child who looks exactly like him. She thought moving to Houston would bury the past, until the night her 4-year-old son asked why other kids have daddies and he doesn't. Would you tell your child about a father who abandoned you both? Hi viewers, kindly tell us where you're watching from and what time it is. Warm welcome to the family. Enjoy the story. He built an empire on destroying others, until the night he discovered the one thing he destroyed most was standing in his hotel lobby, holding the hand of a boy with his exact storm gray eyes. What would you do if you discovered your ex had been hiding your child for 5 years? Have you ever seen someone from your past and felt your world tilt? The problem with secrets is they always surface at the worst possible moment. Stay with me to discover the truth that will shatter everything Cole thought he knew. It's a rainy Friday night in Miami, and the Ritz-Carlton's marble floors gleam under crystal chandeliers. Cole Whitford steps through the revolving doors, his Italian leather shoes clicking against polished stone. He's fresh from closing a $50 million merger, his tailored Armani suit still crisp despite 12 hours of negotiations. Victory tastes sweet tonight. Another competitor crushed, another empire absorbed into his growing dynasty. The concierge nods respectfully. Good evening, Mr. Whitford. Will you be heading to the penthouse? Cole's about to answer when movement near the grand piano catches his eye. A woman in a simple blue dress sits beside a small boy, her dark hair falling in waves over her shoulders as she leans down to whisper something that makes the child giggle. The sound hits Cole like a physical blow. He knows that laugh. He knows those delicate hands now gesturing toward the piano. He knows the way she tucks her hair behind her left ear when she's nervous. Nia, his ex-wife, the woman he divorced 5 years ago in Atlanta. The woman who disappeared from his life so completely that even his private investigators came up empty. But it's not just Nia that makes his chest tighten. It's the boy beside her. Storm gray eyes. The same unusual shade that stares back at Cole from mirrors and boardroom reflections. A dimpled chin that mirrors his own. Dark hair with that stubborn cowlick Cole's mother always complained about. The boy looks up, those familiar eyes scanning the lobby, and Cole's breath catches. It's like looking at himself 30 years ago. Jesus, he whispers. The concierge follows his gaze. Sir, is everything all right? Cole doesn't answer. He's too busy watching Nia smooth the boy's hair, too busy counting years in his head. 5 years since their divorce. The child looks about 4, maybe 5. The math makes his hand shake. Before he can move, before he can breathe, a tall man in an expensive suit approaches Nia's table. The stranger's hand settles possessively on her shoulder, and she looks up with a smile Cole remembers from their honeymoon. The boy, his son, God help him, reaches for the stranger's hand. Dad, can we get ice cream after dinner? Dad, not uncle, not friend. Dad. Cole's vision blurs with rage, so pure it tastes metallic. The woman who left him, who disappeared without explanation, has been playing house with his child. His blood, his legacy. Sir, the concierge's voice sounds far away. Would you allow me to escort you upstairs? As Cole watches the boy laugh at something Nia whispers, recognition hits like lightning. That giggle, that head tilt, the way his nose crinkles. This isn't just resemblance. This is blood, his blood. And tomorrow, he's going to claim what's his. She thought moving to Houston would bury the past. Until the night her 4-year-old son asked why other kids have daddies and he doesn't. Would you tell your child about a father who abandoned you both? Is protecting someone you love worth lying to them? 5 years earlier, Atlanta feels like a lifetime ago. Nia Martinez Whitford, just Martinez now, packed her life into 2 suitcases and a broken heart the night Cole served her divorce papers. Their Buckhead mansion, with its marble countertops and infinity pool, had become a beautiful prison where her husband's ambition mattered more than their marriage. You're holding me back, he'd said, not even looking up from his laptop. Kids are anchors, Nia. Dead weight for people who want to build something that lasts. She'd left that same night, driving her Honda Civic through tears and rain until she reached Houston. By then, she was already 3 weeks pregnant and didn't even know it. The pregnancy test came back positive in a gas station bathroom somewhere outside Louisiana. 2 pink lines that changed everything. She'd stared at that plastic stick for 20 minutes, Cole's cruel words echoing in her head. Kids are anchors, so she'd made a choice. If he didn't want to be a father, she wouldn't force him. If he thought children were dead weight, she'd prove him wrong by raising one who would be anything but. Ethan came into the world on a Tuesday morning in Houston Methodist Hospital. 8 pounds, 2 ounces of perfect possibility. When the nurses asked about the father, Nia simply said, "It's just us." And it had been, just them against the world. She'd worked double shifts as a registered nurse, saving every penny for a tiny apartment in a decent neighborhood. Ethan's nursery was a corner of her bedroom, his crib bought secondhand but painted with love. She'd sung him lullabies in English and Spanish, read him stories about dragons and knights, and never once mentioned the storm-gray eyes he'd inherited. When Ethan turned 3 and started asking questions, Nia's heart broke a little more each time. "Mommy, why don't I have a daddy like Tommy?" "Sometimes families look different, baby. Some have mommies and daddies. Some just have mommies. Ours is perfect just the way it is." But Ethan was smart. Too smart. Did my daddy not want me? The question had nearly destroyed her. She'd held her son close, breathing in his baby's shampoo scent, and whispered, "Your daddy doesn't know how amazing you are. But I do, and that's enough." That's when Marcus entered their lives. Marcus Sullivan, a successful tech entrepreneur who'd grown up in Houston's 5th Ward, understood struggle. He'd met Nia at the hospital cafeteria during one of her rare lunch breaks, and their friendship had grown slowly, carefully. He never pushed, never demanded, just showed up when she needed someone most. Marcus became the father figure Ethan craved without ever trying to replace the father he'd never known. He taught Ethan to throw a baseball, helped with homework, and attended every school play. To the outside world, they looked like a family. To Nia, Marcus was safety, comfort, everything Cole had never been. When Marcus suggests the Miami business trip, Nia hesitates. "What if we run into someone from my past?" she asks. Marcus smiles reassuringly. "Atlanta's your past. Miami's neutral territory." Neither knows Cole just closed his biggest deal there, and fate has a twisted sense of timing. The elevator doors opened on the penthouse floor, and Cole realized 5 years of anger had prepared him for everything except the moment she'd look at him like he was a stranger. Have you ever had to face someone who broke your heart while protecting someone you love? What would you do if your past demanded answers you weren't ready to give? Cole doesn't sleep. Instead, he spends the night pacing his penthouse suite, calling in favors from contacts across 3 states. By morning, he knows everything. Nia Martinez, registered nurse at Houston Methodist. Single mother, lives in a 2-bedroom apartment on Westheimer Road. No marriage records, no other children, and no mention of Cole Whitford anywhere in her life. The private investigator's report feels like paper cuts across old wounds. She'd erased him completely, as if their 3 years of marriage meant nothing. As if he meant nothing. But that boy, Ethan, the report says, proves otherwise. Cole studies the elevator buttons, his finger hovering over the 7th floor. Room 712. She's probably getting the kid ready for breakfast, maybe planning another day of playing happy family with her boyfriend. The hallway stretches endlessly in both directions, thick carpet muffling his footsteps. Cole's heart pounds harder than it did during his first hostile takeover. This is different. This is personal. He raises his hand to knock, then stops. What does he say? "Hello. Surprise. I'm the father you've been hiding from your son for 5 years." The door opens before he decides. Nia stands there in jeans and a soft yellow sweater, her hair pulled back in a ponytail that makes her look younger than 32. For a moment, neither speaks. Her eyes, those warm brown eyes he used to lose himself in, go wide with recognition, then narrow with something close to panic. Cole. His name sounds foreign in her mouth. "Hello, Nia." She steps backward instinctively, her hand gripping the doorframe. "What are you doing here?" "I think you know." From somewhere inside the room comes the sound of cartoons and a child's laughter. Ethan's laughter. Cole's chest tightens. "You need to leave," Nia whispers, her voice shaking. "Right now." I need to see him. No. The word comes out fierce, protective. You don't get to show up after 5 years and make demands. 5 years I didn't know he existed, because you didn't want him to exist. The shouting draws attention from inside the room. Small footsteps pad across carpet, and then Ethan appears beside his mother, clutching a toy dinosaur against his chest. Those storm gray eyes, Cole's eyes, look up at the stranger in the hallway with curious innocence. Mommy? Who's the angry man? The words hit Cole like a physical blow. Angry man. That's what his son sees when he looks at him. Nia's hand drops to Ethan's shoulder, pulling him slightly behind her. Just someone from work, baby. Go finish your cereal. But Ethan doesn't move. He studies Cole with the intense, focused children reserve for things that don't make sense. You have the same eyes as me. The observation hangs in the air like smoke. Cole feels his control cracking. 5 years of suppressed questions demanding answers. Before he can respond, the elevator dings behind him. Marcus steps out, coffee and pastries in hand, his easy smile faltering when he sees Cole. Everything okay here? As hotel security approaches the heated voices, Ethan tugs on Nia's dress and whispers loud enough for Cole to hear. Mommy, why does that man have the same eyes as me? The question hangs in the air like a loaded gun, and Cole knows he's not leaving Miami without his son. She'd spent 4 years teaching her son about honesty, until the day she realized her biggest lie was about to destroy them both. Would you fight for a child you never knew existed? Is it possible to hate someone and still want them? The medical clinic smells like antiseptic and fear. Cole sits across from Nia in the genetic counselor's office, a mahogany desk between them loaded with consent forms and specimen containers. The fluorescent lights buzz overhead, counting down to truth neither of them is ready to face. This is crazy, Nia whispers, her hands shaking as she signs the paperwork. You can't just show up and demand proof. I can and I am. Cole's voice stays level, but his jaw ticks with tension. If he's mine, if... Nia's laugh sounds bitter. Look at him, Cole. Really look. Through the glass partition, they can see Ethan in the waiting room with Marcus building a tower from blocks. The resemblance is undeniable. The way he furrows his brow in concentration, the stubborn set of his small shoulders, even the way he chews his bottom lip when thinking. All Cole, every detail. The nurse enters with cotton swabs and collection tubes. We'll need samples from both potential parents and the child. Results typically take 48 hours, but we can rush them for an additional fee. Rush them, Cole says immediately. Cole, rush them, he repeats, his eyes never leaving Nia's face. I've waited 5 years. I won't wait another day, longer than necessary. The swabbing process takes minutes, but feels eternal. Ethan, curious and cooperative, asks why the nice lady needs to tickle the inside of his cheek. Marcus explains it's like a special test to learn about families, and Ethan nods solemnly. Like when you get blood tests and my checkups? Something like that, buddy. Cole watches his son, and God, how easily that thought comes now. Submit to the procedure without fear. The trust in those storm gray eyes makes Cole's chest ache. This boy doesn't know him, has no reason to accept him, yet there's an openness there that speaks to something deeper than knowledge. All done, the nurse announces, sealing the samples with clinical efficiency. We'll call as soon as results are available. In the parking lot, Marcus loads Ethan into his car seat while Cole and Nia stand in uncomfortable silence. The Miami heat presses down like judgment, making everything feel thick and hard to breathe. What happens when a test comes back positive? Nia asks quietly. Then we figure out what's best for our son. Our son. Her voice cracks. 5 minutes ago, you didn't know he existed. But I do now. Cole steps closer, and she doesn't back away. I know now, Nia, and that changes everything. The doctor sealed the DNA samples with clinical efficiency, but couldn't contain the emotional explosion waiting in those test tubes. In 48 hours, Cole would have legal proof. In 48 hours, Nia's carefully constructed life would either survive or shatter. Neither expected the call that came in 24 hours, results ready early, and everything about to change. The DNA results came back 99.9% positive, but the conversation that followed was 100% devastating. Can someone who rejected parenthood suddenly become a good father? Would you marry someone to protect your child from their biological parent? The law office feels like a courtroom. Dr. Patricia Reeves, the genetic counselor, sits behind her desk with a manila folder that contains Cole's future. Nia grips Marcus's hand while Cole sits alone, his expensive suit unable to armor him against what comes next. The probability of paternity is 99.97%, Dr. Reeves announces. Mr. Whitford, you are the biological father. The words hit the room like a gavel. Cole closes his eyes, exhaling slowly. 5 years of wondering, 5 years of Ethan growing up without him, 5 years of missing everything. What now? Nia's voice sounds hollow. Cole opens his eyes, and the businessman disappears, replaced by something rawer. Now I want to know my son. I want shared custody. I want him to know who his father is. Absolutely not. Nia stands so quickly her chair scrapes against hardwood. You don't get to waltz in and demand rights to a child you never wanted. I never knew he existed. Because you made it clear children weren't part of your plan. Her composure finally cracks. You want to know why I never told you? Because you said kids were anchors that would sink your empire. You called me selfish for wanting a family. The accusation hangs heavy. Marcus shifts uncomfortably in DR. Reeves quietly gathers her papers. Cole's voice drops low, dangerous. That was then. Things change. People change. People don't change, Cole. They just get better at hiding who they really are. You're wrong. He stands, moving closer. I've spent 5 years building something that means nothing without someone to leave it to. I've had everything and realized I had nothing. You want to know what changed me? Walking into that lobby and seeing what I threw away. Nia's breath catches, but she doesn't retreat. Pretty words. But Ethan isn't a consolation prize for your midlife crisis. He's a little boy who needs stability, not a father who might decide parenting is inconvenient. I would never. You already did. The silence stretches until Marcus clears his throat. There might be a solution that protects everyone involved. Both Cole and Nia turn to him. Marcus reaches into his jacket, pulling out a small velvet box. Marry me, Nia. Cole's face goes white. What? Marry me. Marcus repeats, dropping to one knee. I love you. I love Ethan. We can make this official. Give him legal protection from custody battles and disruption. Nia stares at the ring, a simple, elegant solitaire that catches the office lights. It represents safety, security, everything Cole never offered. Nia, Cole's voice cracks. Don't do this. She looks between them. Marcus offering stability, Cole offering chaos wrapped in promises. When Marcus drops to one knee in front of lawyers and witnesses, proposing marriage to give Ethan legal protection, Cole's composure finally cracks. Over my dead body, he growls, and Nia realizes the war for her son has become a battle for her heart, whether she wants it or not. Two men wanted to marry her for completely different reasons. One to save her, one to claim her, and she was about to choose the wrong one. Would you choose the safe choice or the passionate one? Can you marry someone you don't love to protect someone you do? Miami Beach stretches endlessly under the setting sun, waves crashing against the shore like the chaos in Nia's heart. She sits on a bench between two different futures. Marcus on her left holding a ring that promises peace, Cole on her right radiating the kind of dangerous energy that once consumed her completely. This is insane, she whispers, sand between her toes, salt air making her hair wild. People don't make life decisions like this. People make decisions like this every day, Marcus says gently. He's taken off his jacket, rolled up his sleeves, trying to look relaxed when everything about this moment screams desperation. Sometimes love means choosing security over passion. Cole laughs, sharp and bitter. Security? You're talking about a business arrangement. That's not marriage, that's a merger. And what would you call what you're offering? Marcus fires back. Another chance to break her heart when the next big deal comes along. I'm offering our son his father. I've been his father for 2 years. The words hit Cole like physical blows. He watches Ethan build sandcastles 20 yards away, completely unaware that 3 adults are tearing each other apart over his future. The boy's laughter carries on the wind, innocent and pure. "Ethan adores you," Nia tells Marcus, and Cole's jaw tightens. "You've never missed a school play, never forgotten a bedtime story. You've been everything he needed, but I'm not his blood," Marcus admits quietly. "And someday he'll want answers about where he comes from." Cole seizes the opening. "I can give him those answers. I can give him everything. The best schools, opportunities you can't imagine, a legacy worth inheriting. Money." Nia's voice turns cold. "Everything comes back to money with you. Stability comes from money. Security comes from money. The freedom to choose comes from money." The freedom to choose. She stands, brushing sand from her sundress. "Where was my freedom to choose when you decided our marriage was too inconvenient? Where was Ethan's choice when you picked your empire over your family?" Cole stands too, moving closer until she can smell his cologne. Expensive, familiar, dangerous. "I was 28 and stupid. I thought success meant sacrificing everything else. And now I know success without family is just expensive loneliness." The honesty in his voice makes her chest tighten. Behind them, Marcus clears his throat. "Nia, you don't have to choose right now, but the custody hearing is next week. If we're married, it strengthens our position considerably." She looks at the ring in Marcus's hand. Simple, safe, everything she should want. And she looks at Cole, all sharp edges and unresolved pain, everything she should avoid. As Nia prepares to accept Marcus's proposal, Ethan runs to Cole with a seashell. "Daddy, look what I found." The word stops everyone cold. "Daddy," not Marcus, Cole. And in that moment, Nia realizes her son has already chosen. Now she has to decide if she's brave enough to follow his heart. The courtroom was supposed to decide Ethan's future, but it became the arena where Cole and Nia's past went to war with their present. Have you ever been forced to spend time with someone you were trying to avoid? Can ex-spouses successfully co-parent when they can barely look at each other? The Miami-Dade County Family Courthouse rises like a concrete monument to broken dreams. Nia adjusts her conservative navy dress, the one Marcus helped her pick out because it makes her look responsible and stable. Cole walks up the courthouse steps in a suit that costs more than her monthly rent, flanked by 2 attorneys who look like they could devour souls for breakfast. "Remember," Marcus whispers as they climb the steps, "stay calm. Don't let him provoke you." But provocation is Cole's specialty. The moment they're seated in the courtroom, his presence fills the space like smoke. He doesn't look at her directly, but she feels his attention like heat against her skin. Judge Patricia Henley, a stern woman in her 60s with silver hair and no patience for drama, reviews the case files. "Mr. Whitford, you're seeking joint custody of a child you've known about for less than 2 weeks. Cole's lead attorney, a sharp woman named Victoria Cross, stands smoothly. "Your Honor, my client only recently discovered the child's existence. Had he known, he would have been involved from the beginning." And Ms. Martinez, you maintain that Mr. Whitford abandoned his family responsibilities? Nia's lawyer, a kind man named David Chun, who takes cases pro bono, rises. "Your Honor, Mr. Whitford made his position on children very clear during their marriage. Ms. Martinez acted to protect her child from rejection and instability." The judge's eyes narrow. "I'm more interested in what's best for Ethan now, not what happened 5 years ago." What happens next makes Nia's stomach drop. Cole's team presents a portfolio of Ethan's life that reads like a deficit report. Her modest apartment, her demanding work schedule, the time she had to leave Ethan with neighbors during double shifts, her student loan debt, her 10-year-old Honda with a dented bumper. "My client can provide private education at the best schools in the country," Victoria Cross declares. "Healthcare that exceeds any insurance plan. Opportunities Ms. Martinez simply cannot match." David Chun fights back. "Ethan needs love and stability, not a trust fund." Ms. Martinez has raised a happy, healthy child while working as a registered nurse, a profession that serves her community. She's never missed a parent conference, never forgotten a birthday, never put her career above her son's needs. Unlike some people, Nia mutters under her breath. Cole's head snaps toward her. For a moment, their eyes meet across the courtroom, and she sees something that looks almost like pain. The judge calls character witnesses. Marcus testifies about Nia's dedication as a mother. Cole's business partners praise his transformation from workaholic to family-focused leader. Ethan's teacher describes a bright, well-adjusted child who sometimes asks about his father. The court recognizes that both parties love this child. Judge Henley finally announces. However, stability requires cooperation. I'm ordering shared temporary custody, alternating weeks. Additionally, both parties will attend family counseling sessions. Nia's world tilts. Shared custody means sharing Ethan, sharing decisions, sharing everything with the man who once chose his empire over their marriage. The judge's final order makes Nia's blood run cold. Joint custody requires cooperation. You'll alternate weeks, and I'm ordering family counseling. If you cannot work together for this child's benefit, I'll award full custody to whichever parent demonstrates better stability. The battle isn't over. It's just moved into much more dangerous territory. Sharing custody meant sharing space, sharing decisions, sharing everything except the bed they once couldn't stay out of, and that restraint was killing them both. Have you ever had to work with someone you had complicated feelings for? Can shared responsibility create new kinds of intimacy? Cole's penthouse looks different with goldfish crackers scattered across marble countertops. Ethan's superhero backpack hangs on a chair that costs more than most people's cars. Toys peek out from behind minimalist furniture that was never designed for small hands and sticky fingers. He can't eat cereal for dinner, Nia says, standing in the doorway of the kitchen that belongs in a magazine, not a home. She's still in her scrubs from the hospital, her hair pulled back in a messy bun, looking completely out of place among the chrome and granite. It's organic cereal, Cole replies, pouring milk into a bowl decorated with dinosaurs. And there's fruit. Bananas don't count as dinner. Since when do you make the rules in my house? The question hangs between them like a challenge. Ethan, blissfully unaware of the tension, swings his legs from the bar stool and makes airplane noises with his spoon. Since our son lives here half the time now, Nia says quietly, our son. The words still sound foreign, but each time she says them, they feel a little more real. Cole's penthouse has 3 bedrooms, but he's converted one into what looks like a toy store explosion. Racing car bed, walls painted with clouds, a bookshelf filled with stories about dragons and adventures. It's everything a 5-year-old could want, and nothing like the sterile perfection that used to define Cole's world. You didn't have to do all this, Nia admits, running her fingers along the painted rainbow above Ethan's new bed. Yes, I did. Cole appears in the doorway, sleeves rolled up, tie loosened. I missed 4 years. I'm not missing anything else. The honesty in his voice makes her chest tight. This version of Cole, uncertain, trying, desperately wanting to do right by their son, is more dangerous than the cold businessman she divorced. That Cole she could hate. This Cole she might forgive. He likes stories before bed, she offers, and he's afraid of thunderstorms. What else? He pretends to hate vegetables, but will eat carrots if you call them bunny food. He has nightmares sometimes about monsters, but they go away if you check under the bed and in the closet. Cole listens like he's memorizing every word. What about you? What about me? What are you afraid of? The question catches her off guard. Standing in this perfect nursery, watching Cole try to build a relationship with their son, she realizes her biggest fear isn't that he'll fail as a father. It's that he won't. Later, after Ethan falls asleep clutching a new stuffed elephant, Nia finds herself curled on Cole's couch, exhaustion weighing her down like lead blankets. The penthouse's floor-to-ceiling windows show Miami twinkling below, and she remembers when views like this used to be normal. You can stay in the guest room, Cole says, appearing with 2 cups of coffee. It's late, and you look dead on your feet. I should go home. This is home. Half the time, anyway. The coffee tastes expensive, smooth, nothing like the hospital cafeteria brew she survives on. Cole sits on the opposite end of the couch, careful to maintain distance, but the awareness between them fills the space anyway. When Ethan gets sick with fever in the middle of the night at Cole's place, Nia rushes over in pajamas and finds Cole pacing frantically, helpless and terrified. As they take turns cooling Ethan's forehead, their hands touch over their son's sleeping form, and the electricity between them becomes impossible to ignore. Some bridges burn, others rebuild themselves one touch at a time. They were supposed to be discussing preschool enrollment, until the storm trapped them alone together and years of suppressed desire finally broke free. Have you ever reconnected with someone and felt like no time had passed? Can physical intimacy heal emotional wounds, or does it just postpone the pain? The thunderstorm hits Miami like God's own temper tantrum. Lightning splits the sky outside Cole's penthouse windows, and rain pounds against glass with the intensity of bullets. Ethan is safe at Marcus's apartment for the night. A sleepover that was supposed to give Cole and Nia time to discuss their son's future without little ears listening. Instead, they're trapped together with 5 years of unfinished business crackling between them like the electricity outside. The Montessori school has an excellent reputation, Nia says, trying to focus on the enrollment papers scattered across Cole's dining table. But her eyes keep drifting to his hands, those elegant fingers that once knew every inch of her body, now holding a pen like it's a foreign object. It's also $30,000 a year, Cole replies. There are better options. Better for who? Ethan, or your image? For both. Thunder crashes overhead, making the lights flicker. Nia jumps slightly, and Cole's hand moves instinctively toward her before he catches himself. You're still afraid of storms. I'm not afraid. I just don't like. Lightning illuminates the room in stark white, and she flinches again. Cole stands, moving to the bar cart in the corner. Why? I shouldn't. One glass won't kill you. The red wine tastes like silk and bad decisions. They sit across from each other at the dining table that could seat 12, paperwork forgotten, the storm raging outside like soundtrack to their tension. Why did you really leave? Cole asks suddenly. The real reason. Nia takes another sip of wine, liquid courage burning her throat. You know why. I know what I did. I don't know why you didn't fight. Fight for what? A husband who was never home? A marriage that ranked somewhere below your stock portfolio? You could have told me about the pregnancy and trapped you in a life you didn't want. Cole's laugh sounds bitter. Trapped? Jesus, Nia, I was already trapped. In boardrooms, in deals that meant nothing, in success that felt like prison. Having a family might have been the key to getting out. Might have been. She stands, wine making her bold. That's not good enough for a child, Cole. Kids need certainty, not maybe. He stands too, moving around the table until he's close enough that she can smell his cologne mixed with rain and something uniquely him. And what do you need? The question hangs between them like a dare. Outside, thunder rolls across the sky, and the lights flicker again, casting shadows that dance across his face. I need. She starts to step back, but the wall stops her retreat. I need to know you won't disappear when things get difficult. I'm here now. For how long? Instead of answering, he reaches up, his fingers tracing the curve of her cheek with the same reverence she remembers from their wedding night. I forgot how beautiful you are when you're angry. Cole, I forgot how you bite your bottom lip when you're trying not to cry. His thumb brushes across that exact spot, and her breath hitches. I forgot how you used to look at me before I ruined everything. The kiss happens like lightning, sudden, electric, inevitable. 5 years of anger and longing pour into that first touch of lips, tongues, teeth. He tastes like wine and regret and promises he's never been able to keep. She should pull away, should remember all the reasons this is dangerous. Instead, she fists her hands in his shirt, pulling him closer, drowning in sensations she thought were dead and buried. He lifts her onto the dining table, papers scattering to the floor, his hands remembering the map of her body like no time has passed at all. She arches beneath him, 5 years of loneliness dissolving in familiar heat. Morning sunlight streaming through the windows should have brought clarity, but Nia woke up more confused than ever. Cole's arm around her waist felt like home and prison simultaneously. When his phone rang with Marcus's name on the screen, reality crashed back. Last night changed everything. or changed nothing at all. One night of passion created a lifetime of complications, starting with the pregnancy test that would either heal their family or destroy it completely. Is it possible to love someone and know they're wrong for you? Would you give someone a second chance if they'd already broken your heart? 3 weeks later, Nia stares at her reflection in the hospital bathroom mirror, trying to ignore the nausea that's been plaguing her for days. It could be stress, the custody battle, the emotional whiplash of co-parenting with Cole, the way her body still burns from memories of that storm-drunk night. It could be stress, but the calendar on her phone tells a different story. The pregnancy test feels like a loaded gun in her hands. 2 minutes for results that will either confirm her worst fears or her impossible hopes. She's not even sure which outcome scares her more. One line means freedom to navigate this mess with Cole without additional complications. 2 lines means they're bound together forever, whether that leads to heaven or hell. The bathroom door rattles as someone tries the handle. Just a minute, Nia calls, her voice steadier than her hands. 2 pink lines stare back at her like an ultimatum from the universe. She's pregnant. Again, with Cole's baby. Again, the irony tastes bitter. 5 years ago, she carried his child in secret shame. Now she's carrying another while they fight over the first one in family court. Her phone buzzes with a text from Marcus. How are you feeling? Still looking pale. Marcus, who's been nothing but patient and understanding while she works through the disaster that is co-parenting with her ex-husband. Marcus, who proposed marriage to protect her and Ethan. Marcus, who deserves better than a woman carrying another man's child. Another text, this one from Cole. Ethan's asking for pancakes for breakfast. Your recipe or mine? The casual domesticity of the question makes her chest tight. This is what normal families do. Text about breakfast preferences, argue over school choices, build routines that feel like home. But nothing about this situation is normal. She types back, your recipe is fine. I'm running late anyway. The lie comes easily. She's not running late. She's hiding in a bathroom, staring at a pregnancy test that proves she's the world's most spectacular failure at learning from her mistakes. Her phone rings. Cole's name on the screen. Hey. She answers, hoping she sounds normal. You sound weird. Everything okay? Just tired. Long night shift. Right. Listen, about the other night. Don't. The word comes out sharper than intended. We don't need to discuss it. The hell we don't. What happened between us was a mistake. Silence stretches between them. Finally, Cole's voice comes back, carefully controlled. A mistake. Yes. Right. Got it. The pregnancy test positive result stares back at Nia like a verdict. 2 pink lines that could either bind them together forever or tear them apart again. And this time, there's no running away. Because Ethan needs stability, Cole demands truth, and her heart won't survive another abandonment. She carried his first child in secret for 9 months, but hiding the second pregnancy proved impossible when morning sickness struck during their custody exchange. How would you handle an unplanned pregnancy with your ex? Can shared responsibility for new life heal old wounds? The smell of Cole's expensive coffee hits Nia like a punch to the gut the moment she walks into his penthouse. She barely makes it to his guest bathroom before her stomach empties itself in violent waves that leave her shaking and pale. Mommy, Ethan's voice carries from the kitchen, concerned and sweet. Are you sick? She splashes cold water on her face, trying to pull herself together before Cole investigates. The morning sickness has been brutal, worse than with Ethan. And hiding it during custody exchanges is becoming impossible. Just tired, baby, she calls back, her voice hoarse. But when she emerges from the bathroom, Cole is standing in the hallway, his storm gray eyes studying her with the intensity that once made her feel naked, even fully clothed. You look terrible, he says bluntly. Thanks. Always the charmer. When's the last time you ate? I eat plenty. That wasn't the question. Ethan runs between them, backpack bouncing, completely oblivious to the tension crackling in the air. Dad, can we go to the aquarium today? Mommy promised we could see the dolphins. Cole's attention shifts to their son, but Nia catches him watching her from the corner of his eye. She knows that look, It's the same calculating expression he wore in boardrooms when pieces of a deal weren't adding up. "Sure, buddy. Go get your jacket." When Ethan disappears into his room, Cole moves closer. Too close. Close enough that his cologne makes her stomach lurch again. "What aren't you telling me?" "Nothing." "Bullshit. You've been pale for weeks. You barely eat when you're here. And just now you ran to the bathroom." Like he stops mid-sentence, his face going white as realization hits. "Jesus Christ. Are you pregnant?" The question hangs between them like a live wire. Nia's silence is answer enough. "How long have you known?" 2 weeks. 2 weeks. His voice climbs. "And you didn't think I had a right to know? Because it went so well the first time?" Cole runs his hands through his hair, pacing the hallway like a caged animal. "This is different. Everything is different now." "Is it?" "Because from where I'm standing, it looks exactly the same. You, me, and a pregnancy that complicates everything. It doesn't complicate anything. It completes everything." The certainty in his voice stops her cold. "What? You mean, Ethan, this baby, we're family. We've always been a family, even when I was too stupid to see it. Cole, we can't just..." "Can't what?" "Be happy. Give our kids what they deserve. Give ourselves what we should have had 5 years ago." Ethan reappears with his jacket, chattering about dolphins and sea turtles, innocent and hopeful. He takes both their hands, pulling them toward the door, and for a moment they look like what they could be: parents, partners, a real family. At the aquarium, Cole stays close, his hand hovering protectively near her back whenever crowds press in. He buys her ginger ale without being asked, notices when she needs to sit down, carries Ethan when her energy flags. It's everything she dreamed of during her first pregnancy, everything she saw on V. When the doctor mentions bed rest and high-risk complications, Cole makes a decision that shocks everyone. She's moving in with me. Both of them are. I'm not missing another moment of my children's lives, and I'm not letting fear make me a coward twice. Living together for the baby's sake seemed practical, until domestic intimacy became more dangerous than passion ever was. Can playing house with your ex lead to real reconciliation? Is it possible to fall in love with the same person twice? Cole's penthouse transforms overnight. Nia's nursing textbooks share space with his business journals on the coffee table. Ethan's artwork covers the refrigerator that once held only takeout menus and expensive wine. Her prenatal vitamins sit next to his blood pressure medication in the bathroom cabinet, a reminder that they're both older now, carrying different kinds of stress. The bed rest order means Nia spends most days on the living room couch, watching Miami's skyline change from morning gold to sunset pink, while growing a life that kicks her ribs with Cole's stubborn determination. "You're supposed to be resting," Cole says, finding her folding tiny clothes they bought together yesterday. Baby clothes, soft yellows and greens, because they decided to wait on finding out the gender, wanting something to be a surprise. "I'm resting. I'm sitting down." Sitting and folding is not resting. He takes the onesie from her hands, so small it looks like doll clothes, and settles beside her on the couch. His fingers trace the embroidered elephants with wonder that still catches her off guard. "I can't believe how tiny they start," he admits. Ethan was 8 pounds. Felt like a linebacker coming out. Cole's laugh is soft, tinged with regret. "I wish I'd been there. You're here now." The words slip out before she can stop them, and they hang in the air between past and future, heavy with possibility. Their daily routine feels surprisingly natural. Cole brings her breakfast in bed. Real food, not the cereal and toast combinations she survived on with Ethan. He works from home most days, taking calls from his office while she naps in the living room. They pick up Ethan from school together, presenting a united front that makes other parents assume they're married. Sometimes Nia catches herself forgetting they're not. "Mommy, is the baby going to look like me or Dad?" Ethan asks one evening, his small hand pressed against her growing belly. "Maybe a little of both. Will you and Dad get married again?" The question catches both adults off guard. Cole's eyes meet Nia's over their son's head, and something passes between them. Hope, fear, longing, terror all mixed together. Grown-up relationships are complicated. Baby, Nia says carefully. But you live together now. For now. And you both love me and the baby. Of course. And Dad makes you smile the way Marcus never did. Cole's eyebrows rise at this observation from their too-smart son. Ethan, so why can't you just love each other too? Out of the mouths of babes. Later, after Ethan's asleep, Cole finds Nia standing at the floor-to-ceiling windows, one hand on her belly, watching the city lights twinkle below. He's not wrong. Cole says quietly, joining her at the window. About what? I do make you smile differently than Marcus did. She doesn't deny it. Smiling isn't enough, Cole. It wasn't enough before. What would be enough? The question feels like a test with no right answer. Outside, Miami pulses with life and possibility. But inside the penthouse, the only thing that matters is the space between them. Close enough to touch, far enough to run. When Nia goes into premature labor at 32 weeks, Cole's world stops. Racing to the hospital, her hand gripping his while contractions tear through her body. He realizes with terrifying clarity that somewhere between custody battles and morning sickness, he'd stop pretending this was temporary. But is loving her enough to keep her? Or will losing this baby destroy them both? The NICU monitors beeped with the rhythm of their premature daughter's heartbeat. And with each beat, Cole and Nia fell deeper in love with life they'd created and each other. Have you ever found strength you didn't know you had during a crisis? Can facing loss together heal a broken relationship? Baby Emma Whitford weighs 3 pounds, 12 ounces, small enough to fit in Cole's palm, but fighting with the fierce determination of someone who inherited her father's will to win and her mother's refusal to give up. The neonatal intensive care unit feels like a space station. All blinking monitors and hushed voices and the constant hum of machines keeping tiny lives tethered to Earth. Cole hasn't left the hospital in 6 days. His expensive suits have been replaced by scrubs and exhaustion. His perfectly styled hair now disheveled from running worried hands through it. Nia looks fragile in the reclining chair beside Emma's incubator, still recovering from the emergency C-section that brought their daughter into the world 2 months too early. Dark circles ring her eyes, but her voice stays strong when she reads stories to a baby too small to understand words, too small to survive without help. She knows we're here, Nia whispers, her finger tracing patterns on the incubator's plastic wall. Look how she turns toward our voices. Cole's throat tightens watching Emma's tiny chest rise and fall with mechanical assistance. The NICU is full of babies fighting similar battles. But none of them matter as much as this 3-pound miracle who carries his DNA and Nia's stubborn heart. The doctor says her lung development is progressing. He reports consulting the chart for the 100th time today. Another week, and she might be able to breathe without the ventilator. She's going to be fine, Nia says with the certainty mothers use when they're trying to convince themselves as much as anyone else. She has to be. Ethan visits after school, pressing his face against the viewing window like he's studying the most important exhibit in a museum. He's drawn pictures for his baby sister, crayon masterpieces of families and sunshine that the nurses tape to Emma's incubator. When can she come home? He asks. Soon, Cole promises, though soon feels relative when every day stretches into eternity. On the 7th night, Emma's heart rate drops. Alarms shriek through the NICU, and suddenly the space fills with doctors and nurses moving with practiced urgency. Cole grabs Nia's hand as they're pushed back, watching helplessly while strangers work to save their daughter. She's okay, a doctor announces after 20 minutes that feel like 20 years. Just a brief episode, common with premature babies. But the scare changes something between them. Standing there, facing the possibility of losing Emma, the walls they've built around their hearts crumble completely. I can't do this alone, Nia whispers that night, her head on Cole's shoulder as they keep vigil beside their daughter's bed. You're not alone. You'll never be alone again. After 3 weeks in NICU, baby Emma opens her eyes for the first time. As Cole and Nia lean over her tiny form, Emma's gaze focuses on them both, and Nia whispers she knows we're a family. Cole's response breaks the last barrier between them. We are her family. The question is, are you ready to be mine again? 5 years ago, he married her for passion. This time, he proposed for love, and the difference changed everything. Would you give someone a second chance at marriage after they'd hurt you? Can people really change, or do they just get better at hiding who they are? The beach where Cole and Nia honeymooned 5 years ago looks exactly the same. White sand stretching toward turquoise water, palm trees swaying in the salt breeze. The kind of postcard perfection that makes people believe in forever. But they're different now, scarred by divorce and separation, strengthened by parenthood and loss, humbled by love that survived despite their best efforts to destroy it. Emma sleeps in her carrier, finally healthy enough to leave the hospital after 6 weeks in NICU. At 4 months adjusted age, she's still tiny but perfect, Cole's storm gray eyes in Nia's heart-shaped face, a living reminder of what they can create together when they stop fighting fate. Ethan builds sandcastles nearby, occasionally running to show them seashells and pieces of coral, his laughter carrying on the wind like music. This is what happiness sounds like, not the desperate passion of their youth, but something steadier, deeper, more likely to last. I keep expecting to wake up, Nia admits, watching Emma's tiny fingers curl around her thumb. Everything feels too good to be real. It's real, Cole says, shifting closer on the blanket they've spread on the sand. We're real. This family is real. Are we? A family, I mean? Cole reaches into his jacket pocket, pulling out a ring box that makes Nia's breath catch. But this isn't the ostentatious diamond he gave her at 26. This ring is simpler, more elegant. A band of platinum with a single perfect stone that catches the afternoon sunlight like captured fire. Nia Martinez, will you marry me? The question is the same one he asked 5 years ago in a restaurant that cost more than her car. But everything else is different. His voice holds none of the arrogant confidence of a man who assumed she'd say yes. Instead, there's vulnerability there, hope tempered by hard-earned wisdom. The first time you proposed, she says quietly, you told me I'd never want for anything. And you said yes because it sounded like a fairy tale. This time you're not promising me the world. This time I'm asking if you want to build one with me. The difference lands between them like truth. The first proposal was about possession, Cole claiming her like another acquisition. This one feels like partnership. What if we hurt each other again? She asks. We will. People who love each other always hurt each other sometimes. The question is whether we're strong enough to heal together. Ethan appears at Cole's shoulder, sandy and curious. Are you asking mommy to marry you? Yes. Good. Marcus is nice, but you make her happy the way she makes me happy when I'm scared. Cole's eyes fill with tears he doesn't bother hiding. Is that a yes then? Nia looks at the ring, beautiful but not overwhelming. She looks at Cole, older, scarred by their past, but finally the man she married instead of the boy who broke her heart. She looks at their children, proof that some mistakes become miracles if you're brave enough to try again. Ask me again in 5 years, she says, taking the ring. When we've proven we can choose love over pride. As Nia slips the engagement ring onto her finger, the same finger that once bore his ring 5 years ago. Ethan cheers and Emma gurgles in her carrier. But walking back to the car, Nia spots a familiar figure in the distance. Marcus, watching from afar with a bittersweet smile. Some endings are really beginnings, and some goodbyes are really blessings. The man who once chose money over marriage now stood at the altar choosing love over everything else, proving that sometimes the greatest victory is admitting you were wrong. What's the difference between marrying for passion and marrying for love? How do you know when someone has truly changed versus just saying the right words? 18 months later, the same Miami Beach hosts a very different ceremony. No expensive venues or designer gowns this time. Just family and friends gathered under a simple archway decorated with white roses and trailing ivy. Nia wears her mother's wedding dress, altered to fit her post-baby body, and carries a bouquet of sunflowers because they remind her of hope. Cole stands at the altar in a navy suit instead of formal tails, Emma in his arms because she refuses to let anyone else hold her when she's sleepy. At 18 months, she's walking and babbling and has her father completely wrapped around her tiny fingers. Ethan stands beside them as ring bearer, chest puffed with pride at his important job. Marcus sits in the front row, his new girlfriend beside him. A teacher from Ethan's school who makes him laugh the way Nia never could. His presence feels like closure rather than complication. Proof that love doesn't always mean possession. 5 years ago, I stood at an altar with this woman and made promises I didn't understand. Cole begins, his voice carrying across the sand to their small gathering of family and friends. I promised to love her, but I confused love with ownership. I promised to honor her, but I honor my ambition instead. I promised to cherish her, but I took her for granted. Nia's eyes fill with tears that have nothing to do with sadness. Today, I'm not making those same promises because I'm not the same man. Today, I promise to choose her every day, even when it's hard. Especially when it's hard. I promise to listen when she tells me I'm being an ass, and to change when she's right, which is usually. Laughter ripples through their guests. I promise to be the father Ethan deserves, and the father Emma already thinks I am. I promise to remember that success without family isn't success at all. It's just expensive loneliness. When it's Nia's turn, she speaks without notes, her words coming straight from a heart that's been broken and healed and is finally ready to trust again. Cole, you asked me once what would be enough. This is enough. Not perfection, but presence. Not promises of forever, but choices made daily. Not the man you think you should be, but the man you actually are when you stop trying to impress everyone. She looks at Ethan and Emma, then back at Cole. We're not the same people who failed at marriage 5 years ago. We're better, not because we're perfect, but because we're honest about being imperfect. The kiss when they're pronounced husband and wife tastes different than their first wedding kiss. Less desperate, more certain. Less about beginning something and more about continuing something they never really stopped. The reception happens right there on the beach. Barbecue instead of 5-course meals, beer instead of champagne, children playing in the sand instead of stuffy adults making small talk. Cole's business associates mingle with Nia's nursing school friends, and somehow it works because love makes everything work when you stop overthinking it. As the sun sets, Cole finds Nia swaying with Emma while Ethan builds another sandcastle nearby. This is what winning looks like. Not crushing competitors or accumulating wealth, but holding the people who matter most while waves wash away footprints that don't matter at all. So what's the difference between marrying for passion and marrying for love? Nia asks, echoing the question that started their second chance. Passion burns out, Cole answers, pulling them both close. Love grows up. Sometimes the greatest love stories aren't about finding the perfect person. They're about becoming the right person for someone you've already found. If this story of second chances and second loves touched your heart, smash that like button and subscribe for more stories that prove love really can conquer all, even the damage we do to ourselves. Tell me in the comments, would you give your ex a second chance if they prove they changed? And remember, the most beautiful families aren't perfect, they're persistent. 5 years ago, Cole chose his empire over his wife. Today, watching Ethan teach Emma to clap while Nia hummed their wedding song, he realized his real empire had been waiting at home all along. Some mistakes become miracles. You just have to be brave enough to try again.